should be able to sit down and just read it all day long then, maybe, but like in 2-3 hours, no, I can't do that. No. But without any further ado, let's just see what this story is about. Oh, it can be like my stomach is growling. I just ate. I tried this French toast thing, and I don't know. I don't think that my stomach is feeling it because it's making sounds. But yeah. So that are some extra sound effects for today. Okay, let's see. Hello. Oh, it says for my family. Prologue. I didn't mean for them to die. They were accidents. At least that's what I told the police. And that's what I've told myself. But don't believe a thing. I've been trapped in a web of secret and lies, and can't live without it anymore. It has to end. Today, I'm finally going to confess to everything, every last sin, and then get down on my knees and beg for forgiveness. Okay. So, chapter 1, Paige. There she is. My mother pointed to a statuesque girl wearing a pink baseball cap, standing outside arrivals at LAX International Terminal. Stylishly clad in all white linen capris, an oversized sweater, and designer mules, she hopped off the car, taking with her large homemade sign with lots of red marker hearts that said, "Welcome to LA, Tanya." It was so tacky I could puke. Holding it up with both hands, my mom shouted out Tanya's name at the top of her lungs to get her attention, while my dad turned out the car and followed her. Listlessly, I cranked the back passenger door open and joined my parents on the curb. The airport was jam-packed with vehicles and travelers, but we managed to score a parking spot close to the terminal. For all I cared, it could have been a mile away. Make that 10. I wasn't looking forward to meeting our exchange student. My gaze stayed on the girl as she caught sight of us. With a wave and a bright smile, she made her way through the crowd to our car, which we couldn't leave unattended. In the photo my mom had shown me, her hair was shorter, more of a dirty blonde, and she was a bit heavier. But this girl was whipped thin, had long platinum blonde hair, and was trendily dressed in skinny jeans, a hoodie, and bright white sneakers. Despite being laden with a backpack and a humongous wheelie bag, she had the gait of a supermodel, her stride long and bouncy. From a distance, I thought she looked a bit like my sister, Annabel, except taller, lankier, and blonder. Though to me all blondes looked alike, especially here in Southern California. It was kind of creepy some interstate robotics conference he couldn't miss. 12-year-old Will was a nerd, or in-house geek squad party of one. I had pressing things to do too, like seeing my best friend Jordan, who was leaving for Berkeley tomorrow, and hooking up with my boyfriend Lance. We'd been away all summer, but my mom had insisted I came to the airport. She was excited for me to meet our exchange student. She was so clueless. I had no interest in another family member, not even a temporary one. 15 months older than me, my sister Annabel had died over 2 years ago, and I was content being the only daughter. My sister and I were never close. She was my mother's favorite, and I didn't hold a candle to her, not even a close second. This is my daughter Annabel, my mom used to say, and this is my other daughter, Paige. I was always the other daughter, and still was. At least for my brother, I had always been number one. I loved Will and never wanted to lose him. If something terrible happened to him, I would totally freak. Weaving through the pack of wearily looking people returning to LA visiting our City of Angels, which I thought was a ridiculous nickname for the crime-ridden place. Tanya picked up her pace, her wheelie bag beside her. It was one of those sleek, hard-shelled ones, burgundy red and shiny. Tanya was at last within breathing distance of us. Placing the sign by her feet, my exuberant mother welcomed her with arms wide open. Letting go of the suitcase handle, our family guests fell right into them. They held each other tightly as if they were two close friends who hadn't seen each other in years. Finally, she broke free. I'm so excited to be here, Mrs. Merritt. Have you been waiting long? I'm sorry we're late. No worries, it's not your fault. Our plane got in half an hour early, and I breezed through customs. I flashed a big smile with a cheery hello, and the agent let me right through. She had a charming British accent that sounded a lot like Emma Watson's, and a smile that was movie star dazzling. Cheek to cheek, with a set of perfect pearly white teeth. Well, except for a small gap between the two front ones. Her smile met her eyes, expecting them to be a greenish blue like my sister's. I was surprised to discover they were as brown as my dad's. Combined with her thick licorice black brows, which also resembled his, it made me wonder if she was a natural blonde. Either way, with her willowy body and exotic look, she was, in one word, beautiful. How was your flight, dear? Asked my mom, her eyes still riveted on her. Oh, and please call me Nathalie. At least she didn't say Mom or Nat, which was reserved for my father, who hadn't said a word yet. It was fine, but really long, Mrs. Merritt. She caught herself and giggled. I mean, Nathalie. And by the way, you are so pretty, even prettier in person. A freaking kiss up. Oh, please, you're too kind. My size 4 blonde, blue-eyed mother, a former model, blushed. It was as if, in that second, she and Tanya bonded for life. I forced myself to say hi, trying to diffuse the attention my mom was lavishing on her. Our exchange student looked at me and grinned. You must be Paige. Your mom told me so much about you. Inwardly, I cringed. Like what? She prefers flea markets finds to designers and wears Birkenstocks with socks. She eats weird things and needs to lose 10 pounds. Oh, and I think she's still a virgin. That's nice. I managed a polite smile. Fake was more like it. I'm sure my mom had sent her pictures of me, but I didn't hear her telling me I was much prettier in person. Probably because I wasn't. I hadn't inherited one bit of my mother's slender beauty. Well, except for her wide-set, sapphire blue eyes. With my rosacea auburn hair, square jaw, and big bones, I looked a lot like my father, which, while he was impossibly handsome, his classic features hadn't translated well on me. Lost in translation. Some girls are just lucky and born beautiful. I felt a pinprick of envy as Tanya's chirpy voice cut into my thoughts. I can't wait to hang out with you. Maybe we can go shopping together. The latter was more of a statement than a question. Sparing me from responding, my mother introduced my father, Matt. Yep, meet my parents, Matt and Nat. I often thought they should open a deli, Matt and Nat's. A dry cleaner would work too. My dad, the successful businessman he was, extended one of his broad, long-fingered hands. Well, at least I inherited those along with his athleticism, which helped me make a star player on my school's girls basketball team. Miss Kissup took it graciously and offered another smile. So nice to meet you, Mr. Merritt. Welcome to Los Angeles, Tanya. He kept his gaze on her longer than necessary. I'm sure he was noticing the fake similarity between her and Annabel, as well as the size of her boobs. They were impossible to miss. We're looking forward to having you spend your senior year with us. Speak for yourself, Dad. Tanya was not my idea. Things were just returning to normal, whatever that was, and now there was a new addition offsetting the equation of our family, an unknown variable. Tanya thanked my father and added, It's my first time in Los Angeles. Being the daughter of a diplomat, she must be well traveled. Yet, oddly, there wasn't a dent on her suitcase, not even a nick. Maybe it was brand new and she had it plastic wrapped at Heathrow, although I didn't see any responded, "I'm sure both my wife and Paige will love showing you around. I can't wait to go to Urban Outfitters." Mentally, I rolled my eyes. Given the wealth of attractions LA had to offer, from world-class museums to Hollywood memorable, not to mention nearby Disneyland as well as the breathtaking coastline, some retail emporium you could shop at online and could probably find in London wouldn't be high on my list of priorities. Her interests were obviously different from mine. My father craned his neck to check on our car. It was still parked where we left it, but not far behind. It was an airport police patrol car. "We better get going before I get a ticket. The airport police are very strict about how long you can remain parked curbside." He offered to take Tanya's suitcase, but she told him she could manage it. Together, we hurried back to the car and got there just before we got ticketed. I watched as my dad pushed down the handle of the bag and then loaded it into the trunk of his shiny black BMW. I was surprised by how effortlessly he lifted the big red suitcase. My 6'2" father ran, swam, and worked out with weights regularly, but it was almost as if the bag was weightless. Then he helped Tanya remove her backpack and groaned like he pulled a muscle. "Geez, what's in this bag? It weighs a ton." "Oh, just my laptop, some makeup, and my personal stuff." With that and a grin, she followed me as I slid into the car. As my father pulled away, I wondered, why did I have a bad feeling about this girl? To Nathalie. "Oh my gosh, your house is so beautiful. It looks just like one of those mansions you see in fancy design magazines." I smiled at Tanya's gushing words as we pulled into the driveway. It was a beautiful house, an almost 6,000 square foot Italianate that dated to 1926 and was located on one of the best streets in Hancock Park. While it wasn't one of those Beverly Hills McMansions favored by the Hollywood elite and new money crowd, it was the 5-bedroom house of my dreams with its soaring ceilings, grand entryway, and sweeping marble staircase. Many of the fixtures inside of the house were originals, and I painstakingly furnished it with Art Deco finds, some reproductions, but all true to the period. After I'd recovered from my breakdown, I'd painted the exterior with a fresh coat of Mediterranean pink paint and replenished the expensive front yard with rows of English roses, so it looked more majestic than ever. Our mini LA palace. As Matt parked the car, I glanced in the rear view mirror at our exchange student, now wearing her baseball cap backward. I could better see her face. Her long lashed dark eyes, full slightly parted lips, high cheekbones, and strong dimpled chin. Her wide-eyed expression reminded me of Annabel, whose joie de vivre had been such a marked contrast our seatbelts. Well, except for Paige, who sat cross-legged reading a thick book on Renaissance sculptures, while Tanya and I had animatedly talked about all the things to see and do in Los Angeles, as well as the best places to shop on the way back to our house. Paige had kept her nose in her book for the duration of the ride. She'd always been closed off, but had grown more so since her sister's death. Something she never talked about, at least to me, that is. Though, in all fairness, perhaps I'd never given her the opportunity when she needed it. I craned my neck and looked back at my daughter. Paige, we're home. Please put your book away and unbuckle your seatbelt. Without so much as glancing up at me, she told me she wanted to finish her book and go with her father to pick up Will. Fine. I pinched my lips together, not wanting to create a scene in front of Tanya, especially on her first day. And besides, it would give me some one-on-one time to get to know our new house guest better. Matt hopped out of the car first, and with me and Tanya behind him, he brought her 2 bags to the front door. My eyes stayed trained on my husband's trim physique. Even with his back to me, he got a beautiful picture in his designer jeans and slim-fitting shirt. Tall, athletically built with broad shoulders, a tapered torso, and long muscular legs. His body was his temple, and he worked out regularly. Face-wise, he was a movie star, handsome, with strong features, thick brows, and wavy reddish-brown hair that had just started to show signs of graying, which only added to his allure. And he was rich, not billionaire rich, but rich enough to buy his $5 million house, indulge in luxury cars, designer clothes, and first-class travel. He put all our kids in elite private schools and afforded me the lifestyle of a Beverly Hills housewife. My gal pals teased me that they would kill to be married to a man like Matt, the perfect husband. Not really. Nor was I the perfect wife. If he knew my secrets, I'm sure I'd lose him. But instead, I lost Annabel. I pushed those dark thoughts away as we stepped inside the house. Tanya squealed. It's as pretty inside as it is outside. I love it. I feel like I can live here forever. I did too, I thought, as Matt returned to the black sedan and backed it up into the street. Closing the front door, I glimpsed Paige sitting in the back seat, her nose still buried in her book. Not once did she make eye contact with me. Sometimes I thought she hated me, only not as much as I sometimes hated myself. A loud bark followed by the skitter of claws across the smooth hardwood floor put an end to that thought. Barreling our way was a huge furry beast. He beelined it straight for Tanya, getting on his hind legs and pawing at her, yelping madly and almost knocking her down. Fighting for her balance, Tanya shrieked, her eyes wide with panic, though I knew his bark was innocuous. Just his excited way of greeting housekeeper Blanca had let him in. She had a soft spot for our lovable dog and had done that before. Hunched over, gripping his collar, I apologized and introduced Bear to Tanya. Please don't worry, dear. He's really harmless, more like a big, sweet teddy bear. The kids, except for Annabel, who wanted nothing to do with walking a dog or cleaning up after him, had begged for a dog. Matt hadn't been keen on the idea either, but when a string of burglaries had erupted in our neighborhood, he changed his mind and said we could get one as long as it was a guard dog. So we all gone to the pound and found the biggest dog we could. He also happened to be the cutest. One look at him with those big brown take-me-home eyes and he was ours. And a more than 4-year-old Will had named him. Mama, he looks like a big bear, and hence his name, Bear. I'll never forget my little boy hugging our new dog, Bear, sitting and giving him wet, slobbering kisses all over his face. Nat had looked the other way, not wanting to upset our son. Later that day, to my horror, he bought a handgun. Real protection. He kept it locked in our safe, loaded no less. I hope we never had to use it. Tanya, still looking frightened, didn't buy into my words. Nathalie, can you please get him away from me? Of course, I'll put him outside. Fortunately, our dog enjoyed romping in our big yard and the weather was nice. He also had a doghouse to hang out in. When I returned, Tanya was gone. I assumed she wandered into the kitchen, perhaps to make herself some tea. Wrong. I found her in the living room, helping herself to an expensive bottle of Cabernet from our bar. Dear, what are you doing? I asked as she generously poured the blood-red liquid into a crystal goblet, filling it to the brim. I hope you don't mind. I needed to chill after Bear. She put the wine glass to her lips and took a long sip. Can I pour you some too? I held back the urge to reprimand her and the urge to say yes. Your father let you drink, and this early in the afternoon, it wasn't even 3 o'clock. Another swig. It's allowed in the UK to drink with a parent when you're 17. I didn't know that. A frisson of guilt rippled through me. Sometimes I used to share a little wine with Annabel. In hindsight, I wish I hadn't. Maybe she'd still be with us. Tanya, I'd still like you to put the glass down and the bottle away. With a slight frown, she obliged. Now, let me show you. Tanya's face brightened. I can't wait to see it. My stomach twisted. Now, I wished I had that wine. I hadn't been in that room for over 2 years. Well, at least in the daytime. Bracing myself with a fortifying breath, I led our exchange student up the winding flight of marble steps. Be careful. As I looked over my shoulder to check on her, my new ward was wearing her heavy backpack and had insisted on carrying up her large piece of luggage. By the effortless way she mounted the curved stairs, she seemed to be in good shape, but it still made me anxious. Tanya's eyes darted left and right. Which way is my room? To the right. I followed her as she wheeled her suitcase across the long hallway. It moved smoothly along the polished dark oak floor. I couldn't help but notice how gracefully the slender, long-legged woman moved, like a gazelle. "Tell me when to stop," she called out. We passed Will's room, his bathroom, Paige's room, and another bathroom. When we got to the last door at the end, I said a stop. I made my way in front of her and turned the brass knob. I pushed the door open and was hit by an explosion of shocking pink and sunlight. It felt dizzy, a little nauseous. "Are you okay?" said Tanya, sensing my distress. "Yes, I'm just a little winded from climbing those stairs," I lied. "Thanks to my Pilates and soul cycling, I was in the best shape of my life." Catching my breath, I let Tanya enter first. Her eyes wide, she gasped, "Oh my gosh, I love it. It's like a princess room." Indeed it was. Not a thing had changed since I'd last been inside it. I instructed Blanca to maintain the room exactly as she had when Annabel was alive. My eyes swept across it, taking in the frilly canopy bed with all her precious stuffed animals, the matching furniture, the Justin Bieber posters, her cheerleading trophies, and all the framed photos. Not a thing was amiss. It was like Annabel could walk in at any moment. Dropping her bags on the pink carpet, Tanya headed straight to the bed and splayed herself on the duvet like a starfish. She gazed up at the canopy and let out a long, contented sigh. "I could sleep in this bed forever. It's so yummy." She randomly cuddled one of Annabel's stuffed animals against her chest. For a moment, my mind played a trick on me. I was seeing Annabel instead of Tanya. I blinked the marriage away at the sound of her accented voice. "I can't believe you designed this room especially for me, with everything I could possibly ever want." My chest tightened. I chewed on my bottom lip. Actually, it belonged to my other daughter. A painful pause. Annabel. Our new family guest sat up, her long legs dangling over the side of the bed, clutching the stuffed animal. She looked at me surprised. "I didn't know you have another daughter." "Had," I corrected, tears stinging the back of my eyes. "She died a couple of years ago." "Oh, I'm so sorry. I should have told you." "How old was she?" 16. Sweet 16. Tanya clasped a hand to her mouth. "Oh my goodness, that was so young. Is it okay if I ask how she died?" My heart stuttered in my chest. "I'd rather not talk about it." "I understand. It still must be really hard for you." Appreciative of her sensitivity, I willed the horrific memory away and refocused on our new resident. "Dear, I want you to make yourself at home here." Tossing the animal on the bed, Tanya jumped off of it and surveyed the room. "Can I change things around a little? Like add a few things of my own?" In hindsight, I should have put away Annabel's personal things, her photos and posters, as well as her treasured plush animals. The latter held bittersweet memories for me. Each year I'd given her one on her birthday. Sadly, the koala animal was the last. "Yes," I replied, as as long as you don't move the furniture around. You can put some of your clothes in her set of drawers. They're empty, and the rest of them in her closet. I hope you don't mind that many of her clothes are still stored in, but there should be room for yours. No worries, I didn't bring much. Would it be okay if I borrowed some? I hesitated, then said yes. I didn't want her exchange student to think I was an obsessed nutjob. Truth, I was. They're probably the same size, just take good care of them. Of course. She shed her baseball cap and raked her slender fingers through her long platinum locks. Nathalie, maybe you could take me shopping later this week. I could really use an LA wardrobe. I smiled. I'd love to do that. Why don't we say tomorrow after school? Cool, thank you. Oh, and Nathalie, one more thing. I really need to use the loo. She giggled. I mean, bathroom. Could you tell me where it is? I pointed to another door. It's right through there. It connects to Paige's room. She scrunched her face, her jet black brows knitting together. What? Seriously? I have to share it with her. The tone of her voice was slightly disarming, but maybe she was just tired and needed some reassurance. Yes, dear, but don't worry. There are double sinks, and Paige is very neat. I'm sure the two of you will work things out. I suppose. Her face relaxed, but without a smile. Annabel had never been good about sharing the bathroom with Paige. Most of the time she hogged it. I hoped things would be different with Tanya. Why don't I let you settle in? Take a shower and a nap if you need to, but please join us for dinner in the dining room at 6:30. Perfect. The smile returned. I can't wait. She strode over to me and gave me a hug. Thank you again, Nathalie, for giving me this incredible opportunity. I want to be. She stopped mid-sentence. Like part of your family while I'm here. The perfect house guest. Her words touched me, and the warmth of her arms around me was comforting. I felt a ping of optimism. It would be good for me to have another teenage girl in the house. As she squeezed me tighter, my chest constricted and I felt myself shiver. Would the ghost of Annabel come back to haunt me? So that was that for the first two chapters. I'm really curious to see how this is going to turn out. So I